Harvard sued over legacy admissions after Supreme Court targets affirmative actions. Let's talk about it. So days after the Supreme Court struck down race-conscious university admissions, civil rights groups have filed a federal civil rights complaint targeting so-called legacy admissions at Harvard University. So the complaint alleging widespread discrimination at the college in violation of the Civil Rights Act is the latest challenge to practice of prioritizing university admissions for the children of alumni. So guys, after watching these videos, please let me know what you think about this in the comment section below, and we should talk.
You've been fooled by colleges. Even after I get comments like this, I'm like, well, you know, at least colleges are helping the underprivileged students, right? Wrong. This is why you should always do your own research, kids. After hundreds more comments like this, I decided to, you know, look up what's going on about this affirmative action. I was literally this American, but the majority of Black students at Harvard are actually from middle to high income families. Like, what? It turns out this YouTuber, Coleman Hughes, says this exact same thing. This guy's awesome, by the way. Unfortunately, what this means is that colleges will likely never do away with legacy admissions, as unfair as they are, because they just care way too much about the money. Even the people we think they're helping, well, they have the money to pay colleges. Getting that bread.
Should legacy admissions be considered discrimination? A federal civil rights complaint was just filed against Harvard University over the school's use of legacy status, or relation to alumni, in the admissions process. It cited a 2019 study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, which found that legacy applicants were nearly 6 times more likely to be admitted compared to non-legacy applicants. The complaint comes just after the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, or race-conscious practices, in the college admissions process. Critics of the decision are quick to point out that underrepresented minorities will no longer be able to benefit from affirmative action policies, but many applicants, 70% of whom are white, will still be able to benefit from their legacy status. To predict whether legacy status will continue to be allowed, we first have to understand why affirmative action was banned. Race-conscious admissions were struck down in large part because they failed to comply with the 14th Amendment's stipulation that race may never be used as a negative. In the Supreme Court's majority decision for the affirmative action case, Chief Justice John Roberts explains that affirmative action infringed upon the 14th Amendment because college admissions is a, quote, zero-sum game, meaning that there are a limited number of spots available, and therefore, if some students are given a tip based on their race, it also means that other students were discriminated against because of their race. Legacy status clearly gives students a significant advantage when applying to college. And since college admissions is a zero-sum game, admitting students with legacy status inherently takes away spots from other prospective students. What the federal complaint against Harvard tries to argue is that since the majority of legacy applicants are white, it means that being of any other race presents itself as a negative. By that reasoning, legacy admissions should therefore be struck down because they are discriminatory against certain races in the same way that affirmative action was found to be. It remains to be seen whether or not that argument will actually work, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on as the debate over college admissions continues.
With the Students for Fair Admissions lawsuit against Harvard going before the conservative-packed Supreme Court this summer, I've been questioning, what does my support of affirmative action even mean? And realizing that I need to change focus to supporting proposed legislation that would ban legacy admission. So I just learned that in the state of New York, there is Assembly Bill A1423, which is a bill proposing to enact the Fair College Admissions Act. If passed, it would ban legacy admissions in colleges and universities in the state of New York. So I'm going to put up a website. If you live in the state of New York, you can go to this website and you can read the proposed bill. If you put in your address, you can let your state senator know that you support the bill, and you can include a message. I just did that, and I will also be organizing with people locally to let our state senator know that we want this bill supported. I was recently redistricted. I was represented by a Democratic senator who was already supporting the bill. Now I'm represented by a Republican senator who's not. That's a little disheartening, but I'm also letting myself know that this is my greatest chance to make a bigger impact if I can organize enough people to let this senator know that we want him to support the bill. Also, before the United States Congress is H.R. 6559, Fair College Admissions for Students Act. It was sponsored by Representative Jamal Bowman of New York in the 117th Congress, and it currently has 11 co-sponsors. It would prevent colleges with legacy admissions systems from receiving federal financial aid. So that is something to keep an eye on and support. In 2021, Colorado became the first state to ban legacy admissions. Connecticut and New York have proposed legislation. And there are also colleges where young alumni are withholding their donations until their colleges do away with legacy admissions. So I hear from a lot of people that getting rid of legacy admissions is not something that's going to happen because it is so embedded in upholding white and wealth power structures. But movements are happening. It is something that we can do. And again, I support affirmative action, but I think that my most useful focus would be on supporting movements to ban legacy admissions. It's because legacy students are receiving their own untouchable form of affirmative action, which prioritizes their lower test scores based on their parents' performance. Now, I have received comments and I have read articles that indicate that the median test scores for legacy students is higher than the median test score of their non-legacy counterparts. And the implication is that those legacy students would have been admitted anyways. But it turns out that it depends on the school, and it depends on the school's legacy admissions policy, because not all schools weight legacy in the same way. But to give legacies the greatest benefit of the doubt, let's assume that it is true across the board that legacy students have a median test score that's higher than their non-legacy counterparts. What that means is the bottom quartile of legacy students who are admitted receive test scores that are lower than the median for their non-legacy counterparts. And for a school like Harvard, where 40% of the incoming class in question was legacy, it's very significant that 10% of the entire incoming class was legacy students who were less qualified than their non-legacy counterparts. That's about 120 seats. Now, with respect to the argument that legacy students who have better GPA and receive test scores would have been admitted anyways, that's just proof that they don't need special consideration, and they shouldn't. If you are the child of parents who went to elite universities, and you are the child of parents who are able to make donations to those universities, you don't need special consideration because you've had every opportunity to earn a high GPA and to earn high test scores. You had parents who knew how to guide your education and who had the resources to put into guiding your education. So again, their higher median test score is actually just more proof that they don't need special accommodations.
Time to bring out affirmative action. Or I guess not, because last Thursday, the Supreme Court just struck down race-conscious based admissions, or affirmative action. This decision will mainly affect schools with highly selective admission processes, so schools with under 50% acceptance rates. The ruling will take effect immediately, and the class of 2024 will be the first class to witness the changes. Many colleges are still analyzing the decision, but it is expected to make a dramatic impact worldwide. It also brings in conversations surrounding legacy admissions and the validity of those. If you want my opinion, I think schools should have like a Mortal Kombat type admission process. Students can fight to the death, but that's just me. Good luck to the class of 2024.
Just to spice this up, guys, the executive director of Boston-based Lawyers for Civil Rights, which filed the complaint on 3rd of July, wrote this, and I quote, "There is no birthright to Harvard, as the Supreme Court recently noted. Eliminating racial discriminations means eliminating all of it. There should be no way to identify who your parents are in the college application process," guys. And we have another filed case here by Ivan Espinoza Madrigo, said, and I quote, "Why are we rewarding children for privileges and advantages accrued by prior generations?" He said in a statement, "Your family's bank account or last name are not a measure of merit and should have no bearing on the college admission process." So guys, after hearing all this interesting news, guys, please let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel, and I will definitely see you in my next video. Peace.